Hello, Dr. Ewing. My name is Leonardo Bullard, and this is my leadership reflection video. Leadership is a sacred calling. Although it elevates us, it should also humble us. It is not only to direct or to drive, but it's to serve. It's not about the titles nor the platforms. It's about the people we serve and ultimately the one who actually called us to service. In John chapter 6 verse 38, Jesus said, "For I came down from heaven not to do my will, but the will of him who sent me." He humbled himself to serve. The Hebrew meaning for leader is monheg, which means to lead or to drive. From that word comes a bigger word which is leadership, and it's monhega, which means the one who causes others to drive or act. So, see, leadership isn't just about doing the driving, but it'll also getting others to even want to drive or ones who want to act with your driving or your leadership. As a youth pastor, Nathan had 5 leaders working with him to strengthen the youth ministry. True leadership begins with trust. A Christian leader serves in a way that reflects the character of God. And Pastor Nathan had to humble himself enough in order to make room for God to use the other leaders to make an impact and connection that he, Pastor Nathan, might not have been able to do himself. He also had to trust his leaders' ability to lead in ways that may be more favored than his. He was simply enabling them to act. See, leadership is not about just ambition, but it's about sacrifice. It's not just about the glory, but also the grace. Pastor Nathan's statement was, "A servant sees a leader's weakness and covers them." Leadership is not about exposing your leaders in times of weakness just so you can gain favor or promotion, but as a servant, Pastor Nathan remained true to his position in service to his leader. He modeled the way for others. He wanted others to see even while you are serving, you actually could be leading and preparing for leadership. Others are watching, and he knew that others were watching. Whether he agreed with his leaders or not, his objective was to remain humble and to keep his leaders covered and respected. Some might consider this covering up, and to an extent, it is. However, more so than covering up, it is maintaining the dignity and the sacredness of the position. Pastor didn't care for other people to see the flaws of his leader. He did his best to make sure that that leader was respected. Pastor Nathan inspired a vision when he informed the church of his vision to assist the widows. The man decided how to assist his vision, and their decision was a monthly contribution to the cause. They knew that assisting the widows was dear to their leader's heart. That's what motivated them. My takeaway from that is, just as the prophet Habakkuk declared he was instructed of the Lord, write the vision, make it plain upon the tables, that he may run who reads it. A vision, when it's kept a secret, it's diminished to just an imagination. Sometimes leaders are scared to challenge the process, so they keep the vision to themselves. They do not want to challenge the congregant's faith, or they may challenge whether or not they heard from God themselves. But if a leader remains comfortable all the time, how will God be glorified? If the congregation remains comfortable all the time, how will the church, through God, be glorified? Ultimately, failing to stretch the faith implies that you are putting limits on God's abilities. Eric Grieger, in Eight Stages of Leading Good Change in the Church, he reminds us that the change must be moved forward by courage. It takes courage to face your fears. It takes courage to tell people that the things that they may or may not want to hear. It takes courage to stretch people beyond their level of faith. However, a true leader knows how to allow courage to outshine their fears. You see, sometimes you may be fearful, but you know that as a leader, you have to step forward and show people that, hey, we have to move and we have to move now. When you know, sometimes fear has to take a seat in the back. To conclude, I endeavor to be the leader who covers others' weaknesses instead of exposing them. Also, to admit mistakes before covering them up with excuses or blaming others. My pastor once said, Johnny, a true leader in God's army, he doesn't make excuses and he does not blame others. I seek not only to be trusted by others, but also to have others trust in me. Moses had to not only lead Joshua, but he also had to trust in Joshua's leadership. That's my desire, to have that trust in whatever leadership may be established. My prayer is to never think of myself more highly than I ought to think, but to be sober in my thought and to be humble in grace. Thank you.